Hey guys, it's Mana here, and we're back with more Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. Sorry I had to miss a week. I had forgotten that when Kingdom Hearts released, the hard drive on my computer failed, and unfortunately I thought Steam automatically backed up saved files from games that you got from Steam, but apparently that was not the case, so I had to replay up to where we left off, which honestly didn't take me too long, and thankfully I had the videos where I could be like, okay, these are the decisions I made. Now I can get back to where I was, exactly the way the decisions were made. So, when we last left off, we were training with Sero. We got sucked into the demon world, and the boys came after us with their wives, and then, we started training with Sero. And we found out that my character, whose name was originally Mika, but I changed it to Mana, because yay, she is being possessed by the spirit of a child, and I'm still sitting here going, she's pregnant. So, let's jump in and, see what happens. Hopefully we can defeat the Demon Lord. The echo of the spirit's voice reverberated through my mind, but as I waited for it to explain, no further response came. I let out a sigh. The spirit was gone for now, and I had full control. For now. Rest until training. There is a blue jay outside my window. He's very excited this morning. There are peanuts outside. He loves peanuts. I went to the Grand Hall, knowing Sero would either be there expecting me or would arrive there shortly after me. Nevertheless, I was ready to train again with him. What I didn't expect was seeing Sero and Diana in the room. I quickly ducked back around the corner and listened, not wanting to disturb them if they were talking.
That damn little... How dare she...
My lady, please, calm down.
Wait, what? What was going on?
No, Sero, it is not all right. That selfish brat had the nerve to...
Isaiah, please. I'm all right, I swear.
Stop talking and let me finish.
Diana's harsh tone echoed through the hall, out of the doorway, before a soft sigh followed. I peered around the corner and watched as Diana ran her hand along Sero's cheek gingerly, tracing a mark with her fingertips. Radiant purple light emanated from her hand as Diana glided it back and forth over Sero's skin. Sero, however, had a small smile painted over his lips as he watched her work.
Damn her to the deepest pits of hell.
You're being too harsh, my lady.
Buskaya is being a selfish brat, Sero. I saved her from dying, and this is how she repays me? Ungrateful little...
I didn't understand what was happening, but I could tell there was another woman involved, someone named Buskaya. What was really odd was that Diana was acting strange. She was upset over something a girl did to Sero. It was kind of cute, but it was not what I expected from Diana.
You're being adorable right now.
Okay. Diana suddenly stopped moving and looked up at Sero in surprise. A large blush splashed across her cheeks. Sero grew bolder, gently lifted up a hand. Growing bolder, gently lifted up a hand between them and placed it under her chin, lifting her head slightly.
I promise that I'm all right. She barely scratched me.
But she...
Loves her mistress very much, just like I do. She couldn't help it. I did try to surprise you after all. She was startled and wanted to protect you, just like I would have.
Diana grumbled, pressing her lips into a fine line as she stared down at his chest.
She still attacked you.
Which I'm sure she's very sorry for. Let it go.
Sero moved his hand to cup Diana's cheek, rubbing his thumb along her cheekbone. Diana closed her eyes, but didn't lean into his hand.
You know, you didn't yell at me for saying your name.
My priority was not correcting you.
You were concerned about me.
Yes, I was. Why wouldn't I be?
Sero frowned a bit as Diana opened her eyes and looked up at him, trying to appear unfazed at his teasing. However, the blush that still radiated from her face didn't lie.
Why are you concerned about me, Isaiah? You've protected me my whole life when it's my job to protect you. You didn't correct me again.
Silence followed as Sarah waited for her to answer. I was curious myself, especially since she seemed to not reciprocate, that was hard, Sarah's feelings. Diana closed her eyes and took a small breath before finally replying.
I care about you, Sarah. You've been by my side ever since we were mere children. Every time you've gotten hurt, I
watched in awe as Diana brought her hand up and ran her fingers along the scar on his chest between the lapels of his jacket. Sarah stared as Diana traced around it, her face painted in sadness.
I know you vowed to protect me with your life, but that doesn't mean you must accept every wound on your body as insignificant.
Diana closed her eyes, forming a fist against Sarah's chest and clenching it hard. The scar must have had some significance to make her that upset. I bit my lower lip. I was watching this unfold, unsure of what to do. Should I leave them be? Should I interrupt? I did have to train. Let's let them finish. I didn't want to be rude. Whatever they had to settle, I needed to be patient. I stuck close to the wall behind me and listened further, peeking to barely see what was going on.
It still bothers me. I thought I was going to lose you that day.
But you stepped in.
I did. That was the day before you signed your life away to me. A stupid decision.
I stared wide-eyed as Sarah cupped Diana's cheek and forced her to look up at him, making her gasp and meet his gaze in surprise.
Stop. I won't let you think that my decision was a mistake.
Diana closed her eyes and leaned her cheek ever so slightly against Sarah's hand, making him visibly inhale a breath of surprise.
I don't think I will ever understand you. Even after all of these years, I still don't understand your devotion.
Diana let out a small sigh before stepping away and looking up at Sarah with a serious expression.
I should go. The boys will be waiting for me to train them, and your student will be here soon.
Without letting Sarah reply, Diana turned and walked towards the door. I stepped away from my hiding place, not wanting Diana to know I was eavesdropping. As I came into her view, she froze for a second before continuing on out of the room and down the hall. Sarah watched as she left, staring at the back of her head until it vanished beyond the doorframe. I looked over and finally walked towards Sarah, not wanting to interrupt his gaze with my presence.
She really can't see it.
Sarah? Sarah finally turned and looked at me with eyes drowned in hopelessness. It was almost heartbreaking to see his face so heavy and downtrodden. He seemed to have completely confided in me with this new expression, because I was positive that this was an emotion he hid very well from most everyone. Sarah finally looked to the ground.
My lady doesn't understand love. She's always been told that love for her is impossible because of who she is, no matter how much she dreams of it. Because of that, she can't recognize it, even when it's standing right in front of her.
I'm pretty sure she can understand love. It was a matter of circumstance. She needed to see his love for her. If she was bred to accept that love didn't exist, then we need to prove that what she knew was wrong. Sarah looked up at me in surprise, a small glimmer of hope rekindling at my words.
You really think that she...
I know she can. I mean, look at me. I'm going to be married to the man I love. Surely love exists, even for demons. I watched with a smile as I saw happiness slowly seep back into Sarah's expression. He couldn't give up on her. He would be able to show her his love somehow. After a brief moment, Sarah let out a sigh, closing his eyes. He turned to me, and when he opened his eyes, my relentless trainer had appeared with a serious look on his face. Without having to say anything to me, he stepped back and summoned his spear. That was a fast turnaround. He placed a foot behind him and prepped himself into a stance. Wait, wasn't he going to materialize my weapons? How was I... Sarah suddenly charged at me, making me screech and dodge out of the way. What was he doing? Sarah!
What are you waiting for? Summon your weapons!
I don't know how! What? He wasn't being serious, right? He expected me to use magic? It was impossible. As I managed to duck and dodge his attacks, my fingertips began to tingle. Energy rushed through my veins. and under my skin, tickling my nerves. It was unnatural, but somehow I felt comfortable with it. Was this truly magic at work, or was I just nervous, not wanting to be skewered? Try. I had to try. I jumped away from Sarah and quickly closed my eyes, focusing on my hands. I needed my weapons. Within my hand formed 2 lavender orbs, circling around my hands. They glistened before finally shifting and forming into the katars I was used to. Blah. Gripping it and feeling it physically in my hand, I smirked and turned back towards Sarah, bracing for another attack. I couldn't help but smirk as I stepped forward and practically backhanded his spear with the gauntlet of my katar, making it bounce away from my body and leaving his own body open for attack. Like a repeated memory, I attacked him, clashing my weapon with his multiple times. The chime of our weapons smashing against each other rang through the room, the sound almost piercing my mind. It wasn't a noise I was ever going to be used to. Like the last time, we trained for hours on end, stopping once or twice for a break. However, I could feel my body slowly getting used to the feeling of swinging a weapon and defending myself. At least I would be prepared in case something were to happen. As the sun began to set and the purple sky began to darken, we stopped once again for a third and most likely final break. Sarah stretched and let out a small yawn as I did the same. I think I'm getting used to this. A chuckle escaped Sarah's throat as he rose from one of his stretches. What stopped both of us from laughing was an echoed conversation in the hall, softly reverberating into the room. Huh?
Are you sure? Another kingdom wants to join the rebellion?
It would seem so. Diana isn't happy about it, though.
Why not? The leader of that kingdom is so handsome!
He was indeed, but an alliance through marriage?
Oh, come on! You can't tell me I'm the only one who can see it! I can see them being a beautiful king and queen!
I don't think she will marry him, despite it being a wise choice.
She would be stupid not to.
Well, the last time she signed her life away to marriage, her entire family was killed off while she was away. I don't think she could ever let marriage control her again.
Oh no. Her family was killed when she came to bring the boys back because she was supposed to marry one of them. Oh no. That is... Oh, that sucks.
I guess... Man, the only person she has now is that guard.
My curiosity took hold of me and caused me to hug the wall near the door, listening in further. Sarah, however, remained where he was, looking toward the ground.
I wonder how they met. He's not an incubus, but he's mega powerful.
He is indeed very skilled. I'm slightly jealous of her for having such a devoted guard.
Devoted? He's crazy! I've heard them talk in private before. He keeps saying that he's in love with her. Love!
That is very odd. However, I wouldn't be surprised if her natural aura has affected him after years of servitude. I believe he's been with her since they were children, so that's over 100 years of protecting her and being close.
Yeah, he's probably just enthralled by her. She enthralls everyone she meets.
A pure-blooded succubus will do that. At least she's the only pure-blooded demon of Lilith in the world.
That we know of, at least.
The conversation trailed off as the pair moved away from the room, and I looked back at Sarah, seeing him grip his spear and grit his teeth. He didn't seem to like what Rabbit and Faye had to say. Sarah? Are you okay? Sarah looked up at me, a dull glaze over his eyes. From the expression on his face, I could tell that he had heard things like that before, but it still seemed to affect him emotionally. I frowned and walked over to him as he shook his head.
What they said about her marriage was true. When the Demon Lord's heirs left the demon world, my lady left to go after them. However, while she was gone, the Demon Lord attacked this castle.
I watched as Sarah gripped his spear even tighter than before. shutting his eyes and turning his head away from me, almost in shame.
The Demon Lord's henchmen, the imp demons who brought you here, infiltrated our defenses and were able to reach the heart of the castle, where my lady's parents and unborn baby sister were hiding. Through some form of blood magic, they were able to break through the protective barriers around the room and...
The spirit that's attached to us is Diana's unborn sister. That's my theory. Well, that explains why Diana is special to her. He didn't need to explain. The heavy weight in my gut acknowledged what he was going to say before he could speak it. I looked to the floor, suddenly feeling very sorry for Diana. She lost her entire family while she had been in the human world trying to save them. It was too cruel. Sarah let out a shaky sigh before he looked back up to me.
When my lady returned, she vowed to seek vengeance and destroy the Demon Lord's tyranny. She formed the rebellion, and now, here we are, readying ourselves for the final battle. Everyone only sees the hard-faced, cutthroat queen of the rebellion when they look at her, as if she were unable to love or care.
I mean, she's pretty heartbroken right now. Cyril's hand reached up for his collar, where a beautiful purple rose charm hung. His fingers ran over the surface as he smiled to himself.
However, Isaiah is still the sweet and innocent girl I grew up with. She's still the woman who saved me and protected me from a fate worse than death. I know deep down that the love I feel for her is pure and true. I vowed to protect her with my life, and I will forever stand by that promise. It's just difficult to hope that one day things may change, and that the one you love may turn around and say they love you in return.
Is there any way to prove your love to her, Sarah? I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Now may not be the best time to hope for that. I don't know what to say. I really wasn't sure what I could say. There were so many insurmountable things in his way that I wasn't sure if I was even able to help. I waited patiently until he finally took a deep breath and smiled at me.
Let's just continue, shall we?
I nodded, taking my weapon again and preparing for our final sparring match. I entered my room, thinking about what Diana had said to me that morning. If I drained myself of energy, then the spirit wouldn't have the power to appear in my dreams. But did I want to do that? Eric appeared soon after, exhausted as ever. I continued to ponder as Eric sat down in bed and stretched.
Another long day. How was your day, love?
My mind continued to ponder. I had to make a choice. Did I care if the spirit appeared in my dreams? I want to hear what the child has to say. So I'm not going to give up my energy for now. I needed the rest. I was fine with the spirit being present in my dreams. I could handle its emotions and control myself there at least. I let out a small yawn and began to sink into bed. My exhaustion fueled my journey toward slumber. The darkness of my mind once again welcomed me with the spirit laying on the ground.
Hello.
Hello again. A third night with the spirit seemed awkward enough. What was I supposed to say? What did the spirit want? It was simply lying against the ground, unmoving. My curiosity traveled to what it had said when Diana took my energy. Do you know about Diana? The spirit, however, didn't speak. What was wrong? Eric hadn't come into my dream yet, so I decided to ask another question. What did the Demon Lord do to you?
He killed me and hurt me.
It was obvious that the spirit hated him, much like I did, but something about its wording was off. He killed it and hurt it? Why in that order? Was the spirit not a new spirit, but one that had been wandering for years? Did he kill you first?
Yes. He killed me. Then he hurt me before releasing me.
I'm so sorry. The spirit didn't speak again. Whatever I wanted to say fell on empty ears, even as Eric appeared. I woke up once again alone. However, I knew that Eric was off training. He seemed happy that he was getting back into the swing of it, despite only being able to train for a short time before the final battle. However, as I got myself ready, a knock echoed at my door. "Huh? Come in." The door opened and revealed a sight I did not expect at all. "You! What are you doing here?" My heart froze in my chest at the man who presented himself at my door.
Huh? What's wrong?
"Get away from me." I scrambled back away from the Demon Lord, instantly recognizing him. I found myself against the wall, grabbing the nearest object and chucking it at him. If this was going to turn into a fight, then I would attack after I beamed him with whatever I threw at him. To my surprise, a purple tendril stretched up from the ground in front of him and smacked the object away. How did he have Eric's power? Well, he is Eric's father. It only makes sense.
What the? Love, what's wrong?
Why was the Demon Lord calling me love? Calm down. Something was off. He wasn't attacking me or doing anything other than standing in place. His face was painted with worry as well, an expression I would never have imagined seeing on the Demon Lord. I held my head and closed my eyes, trying to calm down. This had to be the spirits doing, just another trick. Stop it.
Princess, what's going on?
I opened my eyes again to see Eric with a face etched with worry and panic. In the tentacle by his head was the object I had thrown at him, but he stood where the Demon Lord was. How? I buckled down onto my knees and curled over myself, wrapping my arms around my body. This was too frightening, too real. What was happening? I looked up to see a spirit floating silently behind Eric, before fading away. I knew it. But how was the spirit able to make Eric look like the Demon Lord? It was a twisted method if it was trying to get me to like it. Eric knelt down and gently wrapped his arms around me, nuzzling my head. Blah.
Shh. It's okay.
I barely noticed that I was shaking and whimpering. I couldn't really stop myself. The man who had trapped me here appeared before my eyes all of a sudden. Then he vanished into the man I swore to love. Eric kissed the top of my head.
The spirit must be playing tricks on you again. We'll remove it soon enough. I promise.
Good luck with that. I nodded, believing in what Eric said. This would only last a short while, then the spirit would be gone. As I arrived in the hall for training, I was surprised to see Diana in the room instead of Sarah. Diana. Diana turned to me and crossed her arms, taking in my form.
You will be training with me today. I apologize for Sarah's absence.
What do you mean? Where's Sarah?
He asked to train on his own for the day. As he will be in the front lines of the siege, I granted him permission.
I pressed my lips together into a fine line, but nodded. If he was charging at the front, then it made sense that he'd want to take a day and work on himself. I held my hand out and summoned my weapon, ready to fight the queen of the rebellion head on. All right, don't hold back. Diana nodded and prepared her stance, summoning her saber and bringing it back behind her. I had to use this new training partner as a new experience. Not everyone would fight like Sarah, so this was a good challenge for me. Fighting with Diana was no easy task. She was quick and thought 10 steps ahead of me, catching me off guard at some points. Still, I could tell that I was putting up a good fight with my defense. What surprised me was how time passed by without me even noticing it. The more I clashed with Diana, the more ignorant I became of the sky's eventual descent from light purple to dark orange. Soon enough, our training had ended. I panted, out of breath, but surprisingly still on my feet. I didn't understand how or why, but I could only assume that I was getting better, which was a good thing. Diana smirked as she relaxed, stretching back and making her saber vanish.
I will admit, dear, you've done well for just a handful of days.
I grinned, happy to hear that I had impressed Diana with my skills. I only trained for a couple of days, but showed great improvement. Maybe the demon world was aiding me in becoming a stronger person. Thank you, Diana. Diana nodded before walking to the exit of the room.
Now, please excuse me. I must see to the boys. You are free to come with if you'd like.
Why not? Oh, I declined and left the room as well, towards the opposite direction, feeling my bed calling to me. Besides, I didn't want to be a distraction. I wanted to see him train, though. Entering my room, I felt heavy. To think that I had attacked Eric that morning was horrifying. I could have hurt him. I didn't want to hurt him. Then again, I had thought he was the Demon Lord. I had every reason to be frightened and try to fight. But if he had appeared for real, would I have been able to stop him? I was training, yes, but only to defend myself, not to kill anyone.
I can help, you know?
Huh? The spirit was inciting me again. The room around me felt frozen in time once again. You can help me with what?
With a lot of things, actually. If you want, I can give you really cool powers.
Explain. Why are you being so friendly?
Huh? I always wanted to help you.
The spirit was making little sense. I was already training, and I was completely tired. I closed my eyes and looked away. I can take care of myself.
Well, if you need any extra power, let me know. I can keep nasty people away, just like last time.
Last time? But you'll get hurt. My words seemed to silence the spirit for a moment before it spoke again, as if unresolved.
I still want to help you. You shouldn't be pushed around by that icky man.
Eric isn't pushing me around.
It's only a matter of time, though.
I looked at the spirit, somewhat insulted. Did it really doubt my ability to protect myself? What do you mean?
You're a human. Humans aren't as powerful as demons. Especially not the evil man.
Before my eyes, the room around me shifted to the interior of a dungeon. I panicked, looking around while being trapped in place. Smoke slowly eased into the space from the dark corners, making me cough and wheeze. What was the spirit doing? Stop it!
Use my magic!
What? I felt a soft glow in my chest. For some reason, I felt calm and the air became easier to breathe. Was this the spirit's doing? Soon, fire began to peek in and I was surrounded in flames. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to lean away from the heat.
A human can't survive in the demon world, but I can help you. I can protect you.
Stop this vision now. This was getting ridiculous. How could this be happening? I was somehow in a dream. Was I somehow in a dream? This was out of control and I needed to find some form of freedom. All of a sudden, the flames around me vanished and I was back in my room, staring into an empty space with the spirit in the middle.
Why won't you let me help you? I'm stuck in your body.
I don't need your help. I have Eric. Nah, I'll accept help from the spirit. I would. Those words slipped out. A brief silence followed before the spirit spoke again.
The icky man is related to the evil man, right?
It doesn't mean they have the same principles. Eric? That came out of nowhere. I nodded, knowing what he asked. She asked. Eric is the Demon Lord's son. What? Was the spirit concerned that Eric was evil too? Defend Eric. Just because he's the Demon Lord's son doesn't make him a bad guy.
Does he really love you?
God, I hope so. I stared at the spirit, trying to see where that question was going. It was trying to sway me, so I smiled and nodded. Eric indeed loved me, more than anything. He does. I know it.
And if he doesn't? What if he's lying?
Well, then we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. He wouldn't lie to me.
He could be. Demons always lie to get what they want. I was lied to.
You weren't even born yet. You were?
Someone, a person, made a promise to protect me. But they didn't.
The room became darker and colder as the spirit began to suddenly cry. I felt horrible listening to it weep. Before I could comfort it, though, it vanished into the air, leaving me in the room as time began to move forward once again. I let out a sigh and rubbed my head. This was getting ridiculous. When was I going to be free of the spirit? I was becoming more anxious by the day. Even as Eric came into the room, I felt my worry about the situation grow. I barely noticed as Eric finally entered the room. He slowly entered, most likely cautious from what had happened that morning. As memories of what happened appeared in my mind, I couldn't help but frown. I had attacked him. The spirit was trying to make me hurt the man I loved, and I couldn't have felt more ashamed for falling for its trick. I looked up at Eric with sad eyes, surprising him as he closed the door at last behind him and walked to join me on the bed. Eric, I'm sorry.
Love, it's all right.
Eric wrapped his arms around me and nuzzled my head. I closed my eyes and relaxed into the embrace, feeling him gently drain me of energy. I didn't fight back. I felt no reason to.
I know it's not your fault.
Good. I am all out of time, so I'm going to call it here. I'm almost positive that the spirit that's possessing us right now is the spirit of Diana's unborn sister. Like, that is what it genuinely seems like. Because earlier on in the first part, when we were reading our grandfather's journal, it was talking about how the demon child is like the spirit from passed on demons or something like that. And so I'm 100% convinced that we are pregnant with Diana's baby sister, which is going to make things very interesting in the future. But yeah, so I'm going to go now, and I'm going to go finish my quantitative reasoning homework. It's the final week of this semester. I'm almost done with this semester. I hate quantitative reasoning. So, I'm going to go. Remember to do something nice for a stranger today. You may just save a life. Bye!